About myelin, we have to look at a neuron in the most basic level, which is what we're looking at right now. You have the dendrites, which receive signals from other neurons. You have that orange glob, which is the cell body. And you have the nucleus, which is the epicenter of the neuron. You have this axon, which is the long tail, and then you have axon terminals. Basically, signals are received via the dendrites and the cell body. They go down this long axon tail, they get to the axon terminal, and they synapse on subsequent cells or subsequent neurons. So, what an axon is, it is the tail. It's how a signal kind of jumps down the axon to get to the axon terminal. Myelin is something that coats the axon. It's almost like this, I don't want to say it's a rubbery substance, but it's an insulating substance. It is white if you're looking at the brain, and it's what makes your brain white if you're looking at it under a microscope. Think of it this way, and this was explained to me like so by a professor of anatomy when I was in medical school. But when you have an electrical cord and you have the wiring, you have the coating around it that keeps the electricity insulated. So that's the purpose of the myelin. It's like the coating that protects the electricity. So the myelin keeps the electricity insulated, almost like the coating of an electrical cord, telephone, or otherwise. And you have the little gaps in between, the little orange where it's poking out in between the myelin. Those are called the nodes of Ranvier. So actually, what the cell signal does, it gets to the cell body and it hops between the myelin and it goes through the nodes of Ranvier down to the axon terminal. It's really cool. Here's a visual of the action potential hopping between the roads of Ranvier. So, what happens if your myelin kind of falls apart in something like a demyelinating condition like MS? Basically, you're leaving your electrical cord exposed without any insulation. And as we know, myelin is important for cells to communicate, brain cells and neurons to communicate. So without it, these are all the symptoms you're going to have. You're going to have trouble with your motor signals, with your sensory signals, with your speaking, with your walking. You're going to have trouble with your brain communicating with your spinal cord, which also has neurons communicating with other parts of your body. And so all of these symptoms show up. And that's why demyelinating disorders can have so many symptoms. I should add that without myelination, without that insulation, that electricity can go haywire. And that's why sometimes people with MS and other demyelinating conditions also have epilepsy. Because what is epilepsy? It's your brain cells kind of hypersynchronizing because there is an issue, there's an electrical issue with how your neurons are speaking to each other.